Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK 2020 Summer Playoffs. It is round one, our first best of 5, and the only reason why Afreeca are still here in this particular match. Because, of course, we are down to the wire.
Yeah.
This is now match point for Gen.G, and Afreeca just don't look like they've turned up today.
Yeah, this is not the Afreeca that we saw on Wednesday. This doesn't even look like the Afreeca that we saw in their matches against top 4 teams in the regular season.
No.
Which is, I mean, they did not look good in those games either. So I don't know what has to change. I think they would love to be on blue side this time around. As I was mentioning in the beginning of game 2, their strategy of going on to red is a little bit dangerous because if Gen.G clap them again, they're just going to pick blue again. And so far, the drafts have gone in Gen.G's favor. The games have gone in Gen.G's favor very heavily, of course. And they would have loved to completely switch it up and, you know, go red side, totally different drafts, totally different feels. But games 1 and 2 kind of felt like the same thing, and that was kind of just like a landslide or an avalanche or maybe a tornado. Or
maybe it's a typhoon. Maybe it's an example of what's been happening here in Korea, as there is Ruler 8-0-12, legendary by the end, CSD at 15 of 32, just casually, if you don't mind me asking. And yeah, Mystic just did not stand a chance here in this particular game. Started things off looking pretty tilted and finished the game in a very similar state, as Fly tried to go for a Captain Jack cleanse right there, as you saw, and it just didn't quite work out, which kind of epitomizes this whole series thus far.
Yeah, and if you're an AD carry player, this is what you live for, right? You watch Ruler like this, and you're like, man, this is the dream AD carry performance and feel, right? Where you're carrying your team, you're kiting everybody down. Ruler, not really one to play, you know, those awesome dudes like we had in the past either. He's just an AD carry's AD carry, and he only got 4 votes out of 9. 2 went to jungle, 2 went to top, and then 1 went to support, and then 4 votes to Ruler. So
it feels a little bit like someone just scattered a whole bunch of different tokens around, and then they just landed on Ruler being the player of the game. But I mean, when you've got a blowout like that, it's really hard to really give out a player of the game, to be perfectly honest. So I don't really mind who it goes to. I think Rascal had a great game, but I think also Ruler, like you said, played pretty immaculately. Lots of good to be said for Gen.G. Not a lot of good to be said for Afreeca. As you can see, there's some certainly some tired boys, but definitely some forlorn faces here as we look in on Afreeca. Certainly not having a showing that they've wanted to so far. And let's see whether they can get themselves together, as once again, they are going to be on the red side here as we hop into the draft for game number 3.
Yeah, Gen.G, if you're them, you just try to do the same thing again, right? There's no reason to switch this up. If you're a team that could get wins this easily, then you might as well just go for it. Now, Afreeca are probably going to leave set available and maybe try to counterpick with that and try to put one of their bans into something else, maybe like an Ashe or a Renekton or something like that. If they just ban set here, I'm like, well, all right, guys, pack it up. No, there's the Renekton. Makes sense.
Lilia.
They elect to take that down.
Lilia is available, but Set is as well. And now Volibear Lilia could come out, although both of them theoretically are junglers for most teams. I think Lilia is the understandable choice here, as Spirit has certainly already had some good success on it. And this will be a first loss if Afreeca don't manage to get themselves back into this series, assuming that she is going to be locked in. 5 seconds to go. I think they're thinking about what to pick next and trying to take as much time as they possibly can, which you could definitely respect. They are going to lock that one away.
I mean, they took away their Renekton. That goes very well with the Lilia, so they're going to have to go with something else. And you can see that Lilia currently is 10-0.
Yeah.
That is pretty insane. I mean, I don't know if we've had a champion do that wasn't immediately permabanned. This might be the first time where it's like one champion just goes on a huge streak and then just, you know, stays available for most pick bans. As Karma is going to be selected here.
Yeah, priority picked as well. Very interesting that they didn't decide to opt into an AD carry. But there's the Evelyn that Clid has already showed us. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. That hate spike cooldown definitely helping out. Buffed in the recent patch. And here's the Kalista that we've spoken about a lot, but haven't actually seen too much of. But I find it interesting that they're picking Kalista potentially into Ashe Karma, which is just such a powerful lane as far as control, but they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Mystic just slammed down the Ashe. Or if you want to be safe, I guess you could go Ezreal, because Ezreal Karma is also really good, and there's already Kalista set down on the bottom side alongside of the Evelynn, who can lock you down if you don't have much mobility, like an Ashe. But they're hovering the Ashe, and it looks like they do want to go with this pick. It's going to be stronger in the lane against the Kalista, and they're just going to hope that with some support he can stay alive against the many threats on the side of Gen.G already.
Yep, this was a bit of a no-brainer for Afreeca. They also don't give away too much of their draft. So now we're looking at solo lanes. Theoretically, of course, Set could be in a solo lane for Gen.G, so they could ban some supports if they would like to, away from the Kalista. But you could imagine that, Kalista Set, pretty happy towards that bottom side. Afreeca taking some time, and eventually it will be the Zoe taken off the board. And Fly not wanting to pick that one up, which is quite interesting. We've seen Ashe Zoe quite a lot. It has definitely worked, but not this time. Is Jace taken away?
Yeah, take some priority picks away from Keen, as Fly hasn't really been too much of a threat in the series so far, whereas Keen has had some decent moments at least. So chop down his champion pool. We all know that Fly can play a eclectic, gigantic champion ocean if he wants to. But Sylas is actually going to get banned here, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, it's strange because, that's expecting something like a Kennen pick, potentially.
Maybe they want to play Galio?
Yes, another choice.
I'm curious to see what Afreeca are going to go with here. I assume that you pick mid and then save counter pick once you know exactly what the composition of Gen.G will be for Keen.
Or they just pick Ornn.
They're going to pick Ornn. Okay, well... I mean, Ornn can be flexed too, but, not exactly what we were expecting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that one. We'll see what Gen.G are going to lock away, as they do need to finalize their composition now. 5 seconds to go, and B2D thinking about the reverse matchup, but no Zoe available to go into it, as the Orianna will be locked in. And now we have to learn where the set is going. Will it be top lane or support is the big question, and it looks like top lane is going to be the answer, as Pyke is hovered at the moment. Definitely a lot of shielding on Afreeca's side. The Kalista Pantheon would absolutely be a very dangerous choice. This one's more exciting though, and a lot of magic damage coming out of Gen.G. It's going to be all on Ruler to try and get that physical damage down on this Kalista.
Yeah, and that's something we usually say with AP junglers like Evelynn or Karthus or something. You want to, draft as little magic damage alongside of it, but I suppose, as you were mentioning this time, they just want to cut down as much armor as possible and let Ruler carry them. Here's this Galio I was thinking about. They are going to select it here for last. They did not want to get countered by the Sylas. It works very well alongside of their composition already. They have huge amounts of engage with the Galio Ornn alone, but then you've got the ranged lilting lullabies that can come in from Spirit. Obviously, Ashe Arrow can do that job as well. And at least Game 3 does look very different in terms of a pick ban.
Yeah, very, very true. So a lot of mix-up. I think Gen.G have been a little bit more experimental with this particular draft as well. We'll just have to see how it goes. As Set isn't necessarily known for his tank-busting ability, but we have seen a few of these Blade of the Ruined King varieties come out and do some pretty impressive things, especially if you think back to Chovy and his performance. It was, of course, into the mid lane, though, and it's not exactly into an Ornn, which can just make things a lot less fun for someone that wants to punch things. Ornn doesn't get punched very well.
Well, taking a look at these compositions, obviously some really nice team fight ability from the side of Afreeca. They're really trying to mix it up here and try to change their identity. You see Evelynn once again for Clid, and a nice amount of engage on their side as well. Looks a little bit like their Game 1 composition, with some pieces slotted out, such as, you know, the Evelyn coming in instead of a Volibear and stuff like that. But still a nice amount of engage and some really great team fighting in the mid game.
Exactly. Let's do it. Here we are. Game number 3. Gen.G remain on the blue side. And I believe this is actually the first time Clid's played it. I think he hovered it for a long time, and then it was somebody else that actually picked the Evelyn. But yes, Clid is definitely one of our Eve enthusiasts. He's been playing a lot of it in solo queue, which is why we've just assumed that he's played it here in the LCK, but hasn't just yet this season. There's Afreeca. We're thinking about throwing some gauntlets here on the bottom side. Everything's very, very dark, as we've got a face check into a brush with no one in it. Thanks, Jonas Strong, for keeping up the suspense. Very much appreciate it. Now Afreeca just going to get together and walk over a ward. There's the sweeper.
Are they just going for it?
I mean, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh my goodness.
The re-invade from Gen.G is going to potentially do another game 1.
The thumbs up.
Minute 1 victory, rather.
Oh, the thumbs up's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see if anyone actually does face check this. Oh, Mystic, don't take point. Are they still there? Yes, they are. There's the face breaker. Fly's going to go down for first blood. Once again, it's before 2 minutes. All 3 games, Valdez. Can we get one game where someone doesn't die before minions even crash? Ay.
Yeah, basically. I don't even know really what to say. I mean, Afreeca are just throwing caution to the wind. I thought they would take the time off and try to reset and say, okay, guys, take it slow. We don't want to get behind again in the early game. Instead, they did the exact opposite. They face-checked a brush with his... Yeah.
And I was going to play Ocarina in our band.
Great
and it was going to not be lame at all.
All the classic instruments that you would normally find with
in a rock
band.
It's a rock band.
In a quartet. Yeah.
Hey, but you know, like, well, you can have all sorts of instruments in all sorts of bands. You know, you wouldn't expect punk rock music to have violins, but Yellowcard did it, and it was pretty cool.
That's true. Didn't they also have like a? There was another band that had like a DJ.
Linkin Park.
What is that one? Linkin Park had it, but there was another one I was thinking of. But
Incubus.
Yeah, Incubus. That's
hell yeah.
There you go.
Love that band.
Well, we have League of Legends to talk about, Atlas, as it has rudely interrupted our podcast.
Yeah, we're back.
By the way, it's the playoffs.
Yeah, true. We're only 3 minutes in. Nothing's really happened. We've just been laning. There has been a first blood. We're going to try and ignore that at this stage, as Mystic and Ben actually doing a pretty good job shoving this wave in on the bottom side. B2D also shoving in the Galio in mid lane, as you would expect, is cleared. He's going to make his way around. We'll find Spirit, but he's just going to smite that one away and skip out of the jungle.
Lilia just a little bit too fast for bootless Evelyn at this point in the game, so Clid smartly doesn't go for any kind of flash play or anything like that, because probably eventually Spirit would just run away from him.
Yeah.
Even if he did get a charm. As we've all experienced the Scuttle Crab and his moving.
His juking ability.
Is incredible.
Taunt going to come through onto B2D, but now Fly's in trouble, and he's just ignoring Spirit as B2D flashes on in, is going to be able to grab that kill now. B2D trying to get on out of there. He has the potion running. The hate spikes are coming out. B2D, one more auto and he'll go down, but it is a trade, and that's going to be well and truly in favor of Gen.G. Now tethered up his ruler, but immediately he cleanses. And Ben is going to get out of there, as it's pretty even on the bottom side, all things considered.
Yeah, just a bit of trading. You know, of course, the Kalista is going to have a little bit of a hard time early on in the game against the range advantage, of course, especially with his melee support. Gragas does a little bit of poke, but nothing compared to Karma, as here's Evelyn again.
Yeah, is going to be able to get that charm down. That is a super dead
Why didn't he
Mystic.
flash?
Yeah, he didn't have time.
Well, he knows when the charm is going to reach completion. You just
yeah, that's probably a good point. Probably should have done that.
You just got to flash then. I mean, you have to know that life has... Oh, he might even... Oh.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh god.
yeah.
Well, I mean, is it inting when you get executed? I'm not sure.
Boy. Well, thankfully Spirit's there to get the minions. Otherwise, that would be very awkward in the bottom lane. Well,
what's that song from the Titanic called? It's got that
My
the
Heart
famous,
Will Go
yeah,
On.
My Heart Will Go On. You know how that's the recorder version, and it's a bit of a meme. I need to play that on the ocarina.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
you should
about
play
as
that.
good as Yakety Sax for this particular
It's
game.
kind of how the series is going. It's like we have League of Legends, and then we have the series, and that's the recorder version of My Heart Will Go On.
That's perfect. Some good has come out of this, 100%. Let's Thanks, Jonah Strong. Thanks for giving us this particular thing. Is I don't think Ruler was expecting. The turret aggro.
He died, I guess, before the last stick hit the karma, so he got the level up, and that's what kept him alive. That's what it looked like. Just the craziest, just the weirdest stuff has already happened in this game.
Well, speaking of weird
so here we go
stuff,
again.
Mystic is just going to die here on the bottom side. He does flash and heal. And there's a snare onto Ruler, so he's going to get taken down relatively low. Teleport coming on in from almost everyone. As Keen's going to make his way down. That's a great body slam, but life is still going to be dead. Ironically or not. And Ruler's just going to get to work trying to clear out this minion wave before he's potentially dove by 3 members of Afreeca.
Yeah, we got Evelyn coming bot and some low health bars, so I think Afreeca probably going to take the safe play in this case. And Keen has been doing a good job this game. It seems like he's finally angry. He's gone over the edge, and now he's doing a great job on the top side. Gets a good teleport down here. And they trade the flash for this and the heal. Mystic has to use both. No summoners used here by Gen.G. And again, they're just trying to flex a little bit, right? They have no summoners at all. They know that Keen has teleport and that this kind of a play is possible. They just did not factor it in. They thought 100% they would get the Ashe. Did not happen. And they did get punished for it. But at least only life did die. As we're taking a look at some Lilia stats here, you see that Pyosik has played it the most by far, but Spirit is number 2. He's got 2 wins on that one, so looking for his 3rd here in game number 3.
Yeah, he's actually done very, very well on the Lilia. Was one of the first adoptees of this particular champion. Definitely had some very good performances. As life down here. Once again, the Hillbilly. That's a good phase breaker onto Keen. I believe that was to interrupt a searing charge as well. So, good trade from Rascal. He's got himself just some Merc treads. They're up towards the top side. As Callista will make her way back into this lane. Still ahead by a couple of CS with a minion wave stacking up against her. So, not worried at all about how this game is going, but they are only ahead by 600 gold this time. And I actually think this is the smallest gold lead that Gen.G have had at 8 minutes this entire series.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is basically close.
It certainly feels closer than the other games, but here comes Klid. He's level 6. And Ornn has Flash.
But he's very far up the lane. Let's see how long Klid is going to hold on to that one. Hate Spike comes down, gets to the minion wave. The ulti is going to be there, but that cooldown of the Hate Spike actually working out quite nicely, but not able to actually kill. But Keen does have to use his flash, so next time, the Evelyn is probably going to kill him.
Yeah, and the Evelyn can be really annoying like that, especially if you don't have forward vision to see where she is, like on her camps and stuff, which is normally what you would like to do against an Evelyn, but because Afreeca are behind, they will not have that opportunity. Gen.G, this looks more like a normal game now, right? Where the team that's slightly ahead goes for the Rift Herald and gets challenged a bit by Afreeca. We'll see what they can do.
Yep, Keen has his ulti available, Fly. Able to get on top of him as well if Keen does get into an unfortunate position. They can actually grab the aggro on this Rift Herald. It is going to be a 50-50 as there's a shockwave from BDD. Showstopper comes on down. We'll see who actually manages to get the Rift Herald. It will be set somehow. He picks up a double, actually, if you include Rift Herald as a champion. Lilia going to fall down. Fly chasing after Klid. Some low health bars. But now Fly has to get out of there. Not going to be able to go 1 versus 3 as now Ben's going to get chunked. As Ruler wants to actually be able to offer some damage back, but he's not actually able to really. Mostly contending with a minion wave, but that's a big win for Gen.G.
Absolutely. It was looking like a little bit of a normal fight, and Afreeca they forced it a little bit too hard, and they weren't even able to pick up the Rift Herald after all of that. So once again, the Gen.G effect coming in here. They take the Rift Herald and 2 kills on top of it. I liked their target selection. I do think that Spirit did just about everything he possibly could have to try to get out of that assassination attempt by all 3 members of Gen.G. As here we go.
Yep, that's going to be a great cast back. Mystic well and truly dead. They got that flash from earlier. Ben now has his available, and so Ruler probably doesn't want to go too aggressive. But, okay, I spoke too soon when it came to that, that gold advantage. It's now ballooned to 2,500. And Afreeca once again just not able to get anything done in this series. We're going to have a look at Gen.G locking down Spirit there with a pretty nice shockwave as Rascal getting in there with a set that does a lot more with all the extra resources of a top laner.
Yeah, it was pretty much just use everything on the squishy deer. Find Bambi and kill her, essentially. And,
yeah,
of course, this early on, she has basically 0 health, so nice job by Spirit to live for a long time. You saw that the Magic Shield was brought in by Fly at the same time with his ultimate, but just wasn't enough, and Set is so good at skirmishing this early on in the game. Like when, you know, people don't have many stats, he's able to use that grit very effectively, and just does a great job. Has the Conqueror ticking at the same time. Incredibly hard to kill him, and the Afreeca were trying to do that. Not quite able to do so. And Gen.G were already ahead, so again, the decision to try to force the 3v3 was a little bit confusing at the same time, but definitely could have turned out differently. Still, Gen.G get a nice little lead from this. They're going to get the Ocean Drake as well. Mountain on the way afterwards. And with this Rift Herald, Clid will be looking for a play.
Yeah, does, of course, have the stealth now at level 8. BDD comes on over, does manage to catch Mystic with the shockwave, but he's pulled into the wall as our Ruler now with a very fast cleanse. Oh, that's a great knock-up. Ben is going to be taken down. That's going to be the ulti out of Clid. Fly does pick one up onto the Callista, but now there's 4 members of Gen.G very angry that their AD carry has been taken down. Okay, Sleep comes through as Spirit will join the fray. But there are still 4 members of Gen.G. Only 2 of Afreeca is now Rascal, down to about 400, and that is going to be a super dead Lilia.
I don't even know.
In goes Fly. Look, that was a cool circle, but he gets his face broken and sent to the death chamber himself. Some good juggling there from Gen.G, but not exactly the greatest decision-making from Afreeca.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that their play to go for the dive, and they weren't even able to get the Galio after all that, as now TP is going to come in.
Yeah, Rascal, I think he's just going to have to give himself up here. Good face breaker before he goes out, but he's well and truly dead. So they do manage to capitalize on the teleport from Keen.
Yeah, that they do. And the dive was like, okay, well, you didn't get the kill. And, okay, we're going to start all the way from the beginning. So Mystic, he walks out from behind the minions, which gives life the free engage here. It's Flash, Gragas with ult versus no Flash, Ashe. You cannot be there. You will die. And that is what happened. Mystic gets a little bit lucky that he doesn't get pulled in so much there, but still goes down. And it's just a massacre down in the bottom side. Not much to say there, but here is where it gets interesting, because Fly gets the kill. And you're thinking, okay, they're going to get the dive, and they're probably going to kill Fly too. But then they actually don't fully commit, because the Lilting Lullaby is really nice from Spirit, actually, to sleep the 2 of them. And then Spirit's in a terrible spot. And then Fly goes back in. The perfect cast actually to knock him off kilter there is what helped out.
There's the on-on as they're focusing on to Ruler. Life survives for quite some time as Ruler's trying to hop out of this one, but he's not going to be able to. Great arrow is going to be picked up by the Callista right after the cleanse. BDD, not anything that he can actually offer, as Clid's going to get tagged by a volley. There are 5 members of Afreeca in this area, as Clid should be taken. That's a 2-man shockwave. Keen in trouble. Clid eventually is going to go down. Now BDD, 1 versus 4. Not entirely sure what he can do here, as Lilting Lullaby going to come through yet again, but cleanse is going to be good, and the volley is actually going to be blocked by the minion wave. Fly going to be able to take down BDD, as a tower kills the set elsewhere on this map. Not entirely sure what happened there. Oh no, Set killed a tower. Sorry, this game has been very strange. I assume some weird things. So he's able to take down that top lane outer. But this game is certainly very, very strange. Valdez, why don't you break it down for us?
Yeah. Well, we talked about the drafts. We said Afreeca have some pretty insane engage, and they show it off here. They finally look angry enough to do something very proactive and aggressive. They use their composition. They get that great dive going. And it was essentially 5v3. BDD gets here late. And it was actually a really good overall play for Afreeca, even though Keen does go down. As you can see in live, Lilia will survive. But Cleanse even have to be forced out here by the limiting Lullaby by Spirit. Good job there. Trade kill here. He didn't have to go for that, but it actually is good because you get 600 gold for the 300. So overall, you gain profit for your team.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it just feels really like the first time that Afreeca have done much of anything in this series.
But Fly almost had his Justice Punch blocked there. That may have been his death. But was still under a turret. And remember, it's 15.5 minutes. Well, 16 minutes. So still very early days. Still a big lead for Gen.G. But Afreeca have shown that they can at least tango with Gen.G at this point. Life waiting in the wings. No flash still for Mystic, but he does have the heal for a little bit of extra movement speed. And Hawkshot is going to spot Life. And the Hillbilly is just going to wander back towards this mid lane. Ruler heading towards bottom side. As Fly is the one down there, pushing the minion wave forward. And possibly a face check, but Ruler probably not going to be able to quite 1v1 the Galio just yet, especially with the Proto Belt now completed. Alright, Ben, not going to find the Q. Let's see whether Clid can find a few extra kills. 2, 1, and 6 now. He's got himself a Sheen. I don't know what the Ruby Crystal's quite doing. Sheen wants to be the Lichbane for his second item.
Uh-huh. Notice no Hex Flash here from Rascal. He's not able to use that wall to actually get over.
Ooh,
trying to take a trade here.
Yep. Mystic gonna heal. I think getting out of the way of a potential shockwave.
Yeah.
That didn't ever actually come through. Watch the ball. As Spirit gonna find the bowling variety. As you can see now, Gen.G just trying to get position around this dragon, which is going to be their next priority. Outer turret is going to stay alive here for Afreeca in the mid lane. That could actually be important for dealing with this sort of ARAM that we do have going on right now.
You can see very passive positioning now from Afreeca from behind. Doesn't look like they really want to challenge the mountain. Looking to turn it around though.
Maybe not. Yeah, not going to land onto BDD though. As you can see the ball. Is the shockwave actually going to come through? Dissonance tries to get some work done there. As okay, Rascal is going to find Fly, who survives barely by the skin of his teeth. And now doesn't have teleport and doesn't have heroic entrance in order to get towards any dragon fight. And Clid is going to waste no time. He's already down there. Try and lock that one down. And can Ruler also get some damage on this turret? I think the answer is going to be no. As 2 versus 3, not going to be able to get there. And there goes the Drake. Cloud Soul. This game is, you know, it's suboptimal, but it's fine.
Yeah, we didn't actually hear this time what the issue was. I don't believe. But I mean, whatever. At least it was short. So
yeah, it was a Afreeca ping issue this time.
Okay. So
it's just, I think the internet is actually a little bit weird today. That might be what the problem is, just given the weather and things like that here in Seoul.
It's really windy, like, you know, a typhoon would be. So I guess that's the issue.
Yeah, a bit of a fight here towards the bottom side as Rascal with his Blade of the Ruin King completed. This is the build that we were expecting out of the set, likely to go into a Black Cleaver as item number 2. BDD has Seraphs and Void Staff already completed, as the Orianna is pretty happy at this stage. 5, 2, and 5. 10 of the 13 kills he's participated in thus far. And definitely an accelerated Orianna, which is a scary prospect, actually. I feel like a snowballed Orianna is a frightening thing. Because normally, she just does nothing until, like, mega late game where she's really scary. If she gets accelerated, then she starts to chunk you. And, you know, that's Keen with some magic resist. And already unable to really tango too much with BDD. Ben trying his best to clear out vision.
Really do like that itemization from BDD. We'll see what he does go into here. If he goes for another defensive item, such as a Zhonya's or something like that, with all of the hard engage that they have, or if he just goes straight death cap and tries to stack up as much AP, because that's kind of the idea, especially when you go Seraphs instead of Ludens. that you're trying to get as much EP as possible so that not only your damage is really high, but your shields also get the effect of all the extra AP.
Double dipping, as it were.
Yes, wow.
Absolutely. That's why flat AP is so good on these utility champions.
That's why he plays Akali, maybe. Clid is hanging out.
I like that they know that they can't see him, because there's a control ward right there.
Yeah.
But he is going to be able to take down this ward here. And Mystic, all he can really have is popcorn chicken. And yes, it might be delicious, but it's just not that good for you. Going to need some of these good minions here in the mid lane. And he is at least going to have them thrown at him, because of course we're in the LCK. We like to play some ping pong, and that's what we're going to be doing. 2 minutes until the Cloud Drake. That will be Soul Point available for Gen.G. This Black Cleave is actually completely done for the set.
Yeah, that's a really obnoxious build against a couple of tanks, right? You got the Blade of the Rune King, and of course you're chipping away at the armor with the Black Cleaver. You do have a lot of AP on your team, so the Black Cleaver is kind of interesting, but I mean, you're set, you're attacking a lot, and you're going up against a lot of tanks in the front line, so I guess we can give him the benefit of the doubt there. As Clid, he's just waiting for Mystic to step out, but Mystic this time around, game 3, he realizes I can't just walk down lanes. I have to be
Oh no.
Don't do it, Mystic. Stick next to your control wards. They are your friends.
I'm frightened. No. I'm really frightened.
No. Not like this.
Well, Callista's going to come back, and we'll probably just push the wave in. Oh, Mystic, don't do it. Don't walk away from that turret.
He could probably... That's so close.
Oh, I'm so scared. I'm so frightened. Turn the vision back on. Turn the vision back on. I'm too scared. I'm too scared, Jonah Strong.
Was that her? Oh, no, I don't think they saw her. I think only Life and Ruler revealed themselves, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, some control wards here, so not going to be able to enter that brush. Is Clid. As Dongchol. You can't scratch my LCK jacket. It's not mine. It's all right. We'll have some dinner later. It's okay. I apologize, everyone. He's sitting here on the desk.
But no camera, so it's just... It's Rengar and Stealth for now.
He is. Which is actually pretty on point. Because, of course, Clid is there as this Evelyn.
Fly is just split pushing top. He has TP, so if anything happens here, you see that Keen is going to use his ultimate to try to clear the wave. Ruler doesn't seem to care too much.
Not a lot of wave clear, but Keen has hit level 13, so these ornaments are starting to come in. Already has the Abyssal Mask as well as the Forge Fire Cape. And so we'll soon be able to give that Might the Ruin King over to Mystic. Hopefully Fly builds something other than a Luden's Echo, because Luden's Pulse just not as good as some of the alternatives for a AP carry. That is going to be Gen.G taking that soul point like we were talking about. And Afreeca just wanting to bide their time. Still big leads in almost every lane. In fact, in every lane. Apart from support.
Even support, 85 gold.
85 whole golds!
The difference there as, okay. Well, that's not really going to work out. They're trying to keep their control wards up, of course, because vision's so important. With the Evelyn especially. And even though this one doesn't look like games 1 and 2, and it's not as obvious where, you know, you could bring your dad over and say, hey, look, which team is winning? And he'd be like, okay, that team. This is a little bit slower and more calculated, but it's still very one-sided, right? It's a little bit less obvious, but Gen.G are getting everything. They're getting so much farm, even some of the camps in Afreeca's jungle. They're getting all the Drakes. They're already really far ahead, and their comp is going to scale really well.
I mean, Afreeca's going to scale well also. They do have Ornn, they've got Ashe, who scales quite well into the later stages of the game. Lilia also is a very big damage dealer, so I don't think Afreeca are too worried about late game, but I think you're right. I think Gen.G aren't really too phased about that either. Orianna, of course, a very big scaling champion, and Evelyn just does a massive burst, and so maybe the Ashe isn't even something that anyone worries about. The Spirit can possibly put Ruler to sleep, but isn't going to choose to. Okay, yeah, Fly looking for something. Justice Punch not going to connect there as Keen not even going to throw back. The Ornhorn, 2-man shockwave onto the tanky boys of Afreeca as Life gets a body slam. There's the teleport in though, a showstopper. Rascal picks off Spirit, but he is going to be able to escape. Not many flashes left remaining on Afreeca's side as now Keen trying to escape, and he will do so. But Clid gets in from the side. The hate spike's coming down. Ulti not enough to actually execute Afreeca as the bowling ball goes back in. Turret gonna be taken down. Taunt only onto Rascal, and he's a pretty tanky boy. As now Life looking for more. Flies gonna go golden. Spirit spinning around, but Clid is finally gonna put him down for dead in the blink of an eye as Keen comes in. He just wants the one kill. The Gragas is going to go down, but is it going to be the ace here for Gen.G? As Ruler should be able to get some more sticks into Keen, the face breaker at max range, and there's the ace, and that'll be the Baron, and that may just be the series here for Gen.G.
Yeah, Afreeca seem to have this issue where the second the team fight turns a little bit in their favor, they're like, we're just going to go for it. Great cast here, by the way, by Life. Denies that follow-up engage onto Ruler, who had both of his summoners down. And you can see that even though things are looking pretty good for Gen.G, they don't actually get any kills. And then eventually the Evelynn is going to come across here and get exhausted, which is a great play by Ben. Immediately gets this exhaust down, knowing what's coming. And then a teleport comes in and you're thinking, oh, maybe they could turn this around. But then the turret goes down, they go so far down the lane, it's almost like they forgot that Evelynn is full health and right in your back line. And you're really far ahead. Like, you can't be forcing fights in this kind of a scenario, but they do it anyway. And this is not the first time this series that they've done exactly that. So, seems to be a little bit of an issue for Afreeca.
And all of a sudden,
they struggle playing from behind.
All of a sudden, it's an 8,000 gold lead as well, Valdez. It's it was far closer than our other games. Just feels like Afreeca weren't able to temper it enough. As Life is going to be spotted there by Spirit. Bowling ball going to miss. Clid waiting off to the side. Doesn't care about these regular wards. Let's see whether he can actually get any one-shots. Okay, there's the call of the Forge God. Ruler going to avoid the knockups as Arrow going to connect this time, and there's no cleanse. He is exceptionally dead. BDD gets a 3-man shockwave, but there's no follow-up. Rascal trying to come on in there. That's a good control ward to understand exactly where everyone is. But Rascal still wants it. 2-man facebreaker, heroic entrance. Immediately going to be interrupted as Fly gets a Justice Punch over. Wants to try and find BDD. But meanwhile, Keen is just going to get crushed by all the CC out of Rascal. And Spirit not quite doing enough damage this time around. And you can see the Galio's still going to fall down to the Orianna anyway. Haymaker comes on in. Spirit's going to get lit on fire. And Ben underneath the turret is this time going to get executed. And Spirit, yes, you can wave your wizard wand around, but all of your friends are dead. And your inner turret in mid lane is also going to go down. Cleared. Probably, he may fall, but does have a stopwatch. BDD, command protect. No, bowling ball going to connect. Life wants to try and take down Spirit, but all right, he does have it. Body slam going to come in, and the Lilia does take a couple with her, but otherwise it is going to be entirely the advantage of Gen.G. We move towards a 10,000 gold lead at 28 minutes, but the game made it to 28 minutes, Valdez.
Yeah, there's progress here for Afreeca, I suppose. Ruler, he fails his dash over the wall. That's a little bit sad. So, Ruler doesn't have Flash and Cleanse, and they say, we have a ton of engage. So let's just go straight onto the Kalista, who is by himself. So that's a little bit of a whoopsie from Ruler. Gets caught out. Notice how Gen.G are like, we don't care. We're just going to fight 4v5. They don't have to do this, but they decide to. As Rascal does, look at these chunks, okay? He has the magic shield, right? It doesn't hit that at all. So we're just chunking for like 25% of Kalista's health with every set auto. So immediately they lose their 80 carry. BDD easily wins the 1v1. And then the 3-on-2 up here. Rascal makes it a little bit interesting. And in the end, Spirit gets some revenge, but that's about it. It's still pretty bad feels for the side of Afreeca. And you can see that actually it is Clid that does go down.
Yeah, love the bowling ball out of Spirit. Lobs it over Life. Perfect. And, okay. Clid going to use his ulti just to get out of the way of the arrow that was never going to hit him anyway. Cloud Soul does come in. Gen.G locking that one down. Bit of extra movement speed after some ultimates. Never hurt anyone. And now Life's going to have ultimate safety with Fate's calls coming through all the time, and he can throw out party casts whenever he feels like it. Afreeca, 5 members underneath their inhibitor turret on the bottom side of the map, but now cleared. Going to be able to come over here, clear out this control ward, and then he'll have full access to the enemy base. And Ruler coming on over to try and take down this inhibitor as well. BDD and Rascal getting to work on the bottom side, and Afreeca just getting spread too thin from the looks of things. Life looking for an opportunity to cast someone, but now Afreeca, they've pulled the trigger. BDD immediately going to cleanse. The Ornhorn comes down, but Rascal gonna go golden and try to avoid it. Life coming on over, looking for Fly as BDD was in trouble. He looking for a shockwave target, does find one, doesn't do too much, but still picks up the double kill. Ruler goes golden underneath the turret. Life sacrifices himself for the good of the team, and now Ruler is just going to tidy up. Ben's in trouble, double kill for the Callista. We're looking for a full house. Ruler falls with BDD, and they will be able to find it, and Gen.G will be facing DRX in round 2 of the LCK playoffs, and they made it look easy.
Yeah, one of our swiftest 3-0s that we've had, minus the pauses. We had insanely fast and dominant games today out of Gen.G. That was not very close, as everybody did witness. And I feel like that Ocarina version of My Heart Will Go On is probably how Afreeca are feeling right now. Gen.G looking really strong, but I feel like they weren't really tested very much today.
No.
Very curious to see how their match against DRX will go. I think this is the assumed result of many people, even after the series that Afreeca took over T1. But I think the real challenge for them will come in the next couple of rounds. If they even do make the finals, that is. So definitely a good look for Gen.G. Maybe this boosts their confidence. But other than that, just kind of felt like maybe scrims to them. Very one-sided today, Atlas.
Yeah, it certainly felt a little bit like scrims gone wrong here on Gen.G's side. And look, Gen.G know all about this. They suffered at the hands of this exact experience against T1 in the spring final, right? And it must be so cathartic to now sort of come in the middle of the playoffs and be able to have a performance like this and then use that momentum to move forward. Waiting in the finals can be really, really hard. And we've seen it, you know, Griffin finishing the series in first place, Gen.G in spring. Waiting in the finals means you don't get this stage experience. And even though they're playing at home, they're able to have these very high-pressure games. And now Gen.G make this one look extraordinarily easy, and they go into DRX with a lot of forward movement.
Yeah, exactly. The momentum is definitely going to help them. And DRX might be biting their nails and a little bit nervous after that one.
Yeah.
Especially as they have been struggling a little bit as of late. But we'll see what happens. I'm very curious for that. Of course, that will be on Sunday, Korea time, 5 p.m. when that does happen.
Indeed.
And yeah, not too much else to say about this one. It was a playoff match, but it did kind of feel just like another match that these two teams had in the regular season. And so Afreeca, they still have another chance. They do have the regional qualifier, but we'll see how they do there, as there's going to be a couple of strong teams awaiting them.
Yeah, we'll have a look at some of these highlights from this game, but I think you're exactly right, Valdez. It's a bit of a problem. Dongchul just came over and offered some condolences himself. I know a lot of you guys were looking forward to having some cat on the broadcast, so there you go. But this was just a bit of a sad time for Afreeca. But Gen.G definitely able to carry this one through. So excited to see what they can do against DRX, who have looked up and down, right? Like, we could have a similar experience on Sunday. We actually could. We don't really know what to expect from DRX.
That's really the question, right? Like, where are they after the last week, where they didn't look all too hot or fantastic in a way? Rascal gets this one. It's another morale breaker. Mystic not hiding behind the minions against Agragas. Gets flashed on. And, I mean, at least they had this engage, right? This was like the one highlight from Afreeca where we could actually say, hey, they're using their comp. They understand it. They have to get aggressive, get some leads here. But other than this, we didn't really see too much. I guess Keen won the lane by a bit, so there was that. But
yeah, I think Keen actually didn't have an awful day.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the team just weren't able to really be on the same page. I think it was not really individual performances that were the big problem. I think it was largely the coordination just wasn't there for Afreeca. It felt like they were really, really off and not able to tell each other what was going on. Fly also not performing to the level that he was against T1. Fly looked like a different player in that T1 series. And this looked like a disappointing Fly that we sort of got used to in previous seasons.
There's a nice setup there. Ornn Ashe can acquire targets from really far down range, especially when they don't have flash. And 1, 2, and then he hands it over to BDD with a nice alley-oop from the Gragas. But yeah, they were all kind of out of control at this point. Remember, after getting this Baron, they were 8,000 gold or so ahead, and so
yeah,
this fight's not exactly going to look very even. Nice little play by BDD to follow up on that one.
And this was when their wallets were way too heavy. I was sort of expecting that it was just going to be the end. Interested to see exactly where the shockwave was utilized, because it didn't really look to me like it got too much. Oh no, we got a 2-man, so it wasn't bad. Actually murdered Spirit with that one, so it's just a lot to focus on in that particular team fight as Gen.G pull it on through and manage to grab the ace and take down Afreeca in this game number 3. The sweep for Gen.G looking good, moving towards playoffs round 2.
Yeah, BDD, insane amounts of damage. I think he'll probably pick up POG. I voted for Rascal, but upon looking at the highlights, I think it could easily be contested.
Yep, I think BDD probably deserves a look in.
Right? I think those two had some good games as well. So we'll see. But yeah, every gold graph kind of looked like this one. This one was a little bit more spiky because it wasn't just domination straight through 23 minutes or so. It was a little bit slower.
Yeah.
They actually did end up getting the Cloud Soul after the Baron, I suppose.
Yep.
That was taken, so
I think we were in a replay
even though it wasn't
actually
as flashy. Yeah, it wasn't as flashy, but it was still like utter dominance, like very one-sided.
We are going to go to an interview, I believe, once we've got the player of the game for this series. Very interested. Okay, so we're getting some information, but not really too much that can concern you guys. Just there were some issues that were going on here today. I don't think too much of it was on the side of the LCK, as Life is going to pick up player of the game. So at least, you know, we've shared around player of the game in amongst a whole lot of different players. But the Gragas definitely was looking good, and I'm not upset about this choice whatsoever.
Yeah, you know, again, after looking at the highlights, I think he probably deserved it. It was either going to be him or BDD. And he did just have a bunch of really sick engages, awesome casts, like even this one to interrupt the Call of the Forge God. A pretty standard Gragas move, but still, you know, just very consistent, right on target. Gets there, and was just a menace from the support role, so grats to Life for picking up that one. As he gets another body slam onto Mystic in that fight.
Yeah,
overall, just really fantastic play.
And honestly, I mean, this was when it was all over. I think the early game was definitely played very, very well by Life, though. That early gank was absolutely fantastic. As 6 out of the 9 votes will go over to him. Only a couple over to BDD.
And then
and for some reason Valdez voted for Rascal, but you know, that's fine.
It was a little bit of a maybe a little bit of a brain fade.
You're entitled to an opinion, you know.
I liked his engage where he killed Mystic that one time, and I think that my brain was a little bit too biased around that one, but sure.
Yep. Well, here we are. Here's the interview, and so here's G-Sum.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Season beginning with translation, and we'll be hearing from Life, Ruler, and Played from Gen.G. I'm happy that we were able to pick up a clean 3-0 win in the playoffs round 1, and we will continue to perform well in our upcoming series.
저도 뭐 마찬가지로
Same.
플레이오프 이렇게 깔끔하게 이겼어서
I'm happy that we were able to have a clean performance in these playoffs and also glad to have an interview as a PUG player.
말씀 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
What about your life?
저도
Me
세경이
too.
깔끔하게 이겨서 기분이 좋고
I'm glad about this
중간에
clean
이슈가 좀 있었는데 다음에는
result,
좀
and we did have some issues going on in the middle of the game, but I hope this does not repeat in our upcoming series.
그러게.
I can see the players are fighting for the better angle, right?
네, 저희 지금 그 사회적 거리두기 해야 되는데
We need social distancing, right?
조금
But-
멈춰 있어서
I mean, there is no distance here.
그럼 약간 떨어져서 한
열기가
명,
느껴진.
그럼 한 명씩 나와서 얘기할까요? 그럼 먼저 그
And we can like
클리드
do
선수부터
one by
한번
one.
얘기해볼까요?
So let's start with Clid.
네.
네, 크리 선수. 네, 이렇게 하면 되죠. 네. 사실 지금까지는 원래 선발전이야 뭐 젠지가 강하다고
Well,
얘기했는데
Gen.G
젠지가 묘하게
We're always a
플레이오프보다는
huge
좀 아쉬운
contender
점이
in the
있었다는
regional
얘기가
qualifier,
있었잖아요.
but you
오늘
guys were
전반적으로
kept
난리가
failing in the
났거든요. 어떻습니까?
regular
오늘
split
경기,
playoffs.
상대가 아프리카로 정해졌었을
But
때
this time
어떤
around, you guys were
느낌이
able to stop the losing streak. So how did the player react after you guys saw the result of the wildcard series? We always thought Afreeca Freecs has a huge potential, and we believed that any team could make to the playoffs round one. So we focused on our own performance.
마치 어제 LPL 결승전을 떠올리게
And-
하는 그런 장면들이 많았거든요.
I mean,
그래서
today we
확실히
kept
영향이
seeing some
있었나요?
sort of an
아니면
LPL
그냥
style
예전부터 이런
plays because we saw a lot of kills coming out in level 1. I mean, it depends on every game, but this time around, we had a lot of champions that were able to exert a lot of pressure in level 1, and that was the main reason why we kept fighting in level 1.
궁금해서 말씀드리니까 세 분 모두 답해 주셔도 되는 부분인데 1세트는 룰러 선수가
So,
카이사를 꺼냈고
game number 1, Ruler
뭐
played
아칼리도
Kaisa
나왔고,
and also
그래서
Akali.
이블린도 나왔습니다. 이건 누가
And
봐도
then we
한국인
also had
의심이 드는 게
Evelyn in game
KD
3
컴백에
as well.
맞춰서
Was that a
이거는
celebration for
뭔가 사수가
KD's
있다.
comeback?
이런 뉘앙스가 좀 들리거든요. 이건 정말 우연인가요? 뭐 어떻게 된 건가요?
What was going on?
일단은 아마도 롤드컵 시즌이 다가오다
I mean,
보니까
Worlds
이제
is around the corner.
그 KDA 챔피언들이
So,
좋아지는 것 같은
I think
느낌이
KDA
있더라고요.
champions are
그래서
getting
아마도 좀
buffed.
쓰지 않았나 싶었어요.
So that was why we were playing the KDA picks.
아리 친구는 어떤가요?
What about Ari then?
알겠습니다. 알겠어요.
I think that's
오케이, 오케이.
a very
알겠어요.
clear
그럼
answer
이제
to our
룰러 선수
question.
만나볼게요.
So moving
룰러
on to
선수.
Ruler.
오늘 뭐 경기력 자체도 예술이었고 오늘
Your
뭐
performance was
거리
on
세는 것
point.
자체부터 뭐
And your
감탄사가
kiting,
장난이 나왔었거든요. 어떻습니까? 오늘
Your
그 컨디션 좀
movement was
괜찮았어요?
all just perfect. So how are you
Condition.
feeling today? How was your condition?
컨디션 자체는 되게 좋았고
Very well.
또 게임이 재밌었어가지고
And
좀
the
많이
game was
되게
very
만족스러웠던 것 같아요.
exciting. So I'm pretty much satisfied with my performance. What was so exciting in today's series?
저희가
이제 두
뽑았을
번째
때는
경기에서
In
예, 말씀하세요.
game number 2.
먼저 말씀해 주십시오.
예, 이렇게 계속 양보하면 그럼 제가 얘기할게요.
So yeah, let me ask you this question. In game 2,
거리 바텀 지역에서 레넥톤을 상대로
On
해가지고
the bottom
뒤쪽으로
lane,
빠져가지고 막
you were
찌르는 데 있잖아요.
kiting off.
네.
그때가 정말
against
예술이라고 우리가
Renekton.
얘기를 했었는데
That was
어땠어요,
a
그때는?
pure art.
그때도 되게 야무졌던 것 같고.
Yeah, that was so good. That was so
그리고
sick.
또 제가 자야
And in addition to that,
것도
the solo kill onto Zaya was
재밌게 했던 것
also
아, 그때
so
좋았죠.
good.
그 장면이 하나 여쭤보고 싶은 게 사실 그 상황에서
I have a question about that.
사실 자야가 평타
Because
딜이 이루어졌으면
Zaya
자야가
was
이기는
also
거였거든요.
going for
그쪽이
an
시야
auto
활용해서
trade, but you were utilizing the
마지막에
vision
애쉬가
advantage
시야 때문에 못
around the
이기는
wall.
그걸 좀
Was that all
의도하셨던 건가요?
planned
아니면
and calculated,
어.
or was that just
약간
happening?
이제 제가 신발도 2티어 신발 신었었고
I had
그리고
upgraded boots,
애쉬가 자야보다 사거리가
and
조금 더
Ash can
길어서
outrange Zaya
이
a little
정도면
bit.
사거리 안 되겠다 싶어서
So I
했었던 것
felt that
같아요.
I could
제가
outrange
제가
her in this kind of
그런
situation.
점에서 그렇게 야무진 플레이를 오늘도 많이 하셨고
With those
실제
kind of sick
지표도
plays and
말도 안 되게
performance, you were
뛰어나고
popping
또
off, and
그래서
also
예전에 전성기를
you are
뛰어넘었다,
leader
요즘
of
뛰어넘었다,
almost
말도 안
every
된다, 막 이런
laning
거.
stage,
LCK
depart
Summer 뭐 이런 얘기 많이
laning
나오고
stage
있는데 좀 어떻게
stack
생각하세요?
departments.
일단은 이번 스프링에 비해서 좀 약간
Well,
많이
compared to the
비었는데
spring
그냥 그런
split,
부분에 있어서도
I
되게
think
만족스럽고
I'm getting more praise. So I'm really
이야기까지 나오는
satisfied.
거에 있어서 되게
And yeah, some people are
이번 시즌은
even
잘했구나라고
telling me
생각해서
that you're gonna be the first team bot laner. So I think that's a reflection of my performance of the split. So I'm really happy.
굉장히 높잖아요.
Indeed, coming in this summer split, Ruler Life duos are always known to be the best bottom duos in the LCK, and Rule La was actually the name of the Brazilian president. So you guys are dominating the bottom lane. So who's the main carry of the bottom lane? Is that Ruler or is that Life? Well, I think actually it's split thanks to our jungler. We are always able to have a really fun game. What about your Ruler? You just moved in away from the screen. Who is the leader of the bottom lane? Looking at the bottom duos, I mean, I think Ruler is the leader of the bottom duo according to Life. But Life was playing on point, right? Yeah, he just keeps getting better, so I think soon he's gonna be the main character of the bottom lane. I have another question over to Life. Can you bring him up to the screen?
네, 룰러 선수에게 뭐 하나 배웠죠?
You just learned something from Ruler, right?
네, 이게 사회생활이에요.
So this is how you live the social life.
네, 오늘 그 전반적으로 사실은 오늘 경기
And
전에
today,
그런 얘기했어요.
in general,
얘기했잖아요. 아, 사실 서폿은 티어 정리가 어느 정도 됐기 때문에.
He said, well, Gen.G now have a very solid tier list in terms of the support role, so there won't be any special pocket pits potentially coming in. Well, the champions that I played are OP champions, actually.
나온다.
이게 겸손한 답변이죠. 챔피언이 좋은 거다.
Well, Life being super humble, praising the ability of the champions here. And what did was actually amazed by his performance today.
플레이어가 잘해야 사실
I mean, support Gragas depends about the pilot. So you need a lot of skill level in order to execute the champion correctly. But Life is actually putting all the credit onto the champion itself. But you are the only premier Gragas support player here in the LCK. No one actually plays Gragas support, so I can't say I'm the best Gragas support player. You guys are one step away from the grand finals, and your next opponent is DRX, and you guys were having a bit of a hard time up against them during the regular split. So Life, what's your mindset going into that DRX series? We've lost to them a lot, so we analyzed a lot, we studied a lot, so we're gonna win this time around for sure. Play with the clap. What about you? First off, we are having good momentum. I think it's gonna be give a huge influence to our upcoming series, so we want to maintain this kind of a great performance and make to the finals. And lastly, Ruler, any message over to your fans? I mean, there are some games that could have been better and with that we could have won. So this time around, we have to pay it back to our fans with improved performance and results. And this will be the end of the interview with Life, Ruler, and Clid, the POD trios on the side of Gen.G, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ji-sun, for the interview translation. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the caster desk. There were cats absolutely everywhere. That's just sort of what happens. They start creeping in. As Valdez, I'm glad that you weren't ganked by Yuumi this time around. I was double ganked. It was just pretty ridiculous. But it's good to hear from 3 members of Gen.G in that interview. And of course, Wadid fawning over another support player. It wouldn't be a Wadid Korean broadcast without a little bit of that.
Of course. I mean, I'm sure he voted for Life. Actually, all 4
I would
Korean
assume
casters did vote for Life.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And yeah, he did have a great series. Not even just only game 3. I thought he had a particularly good game 2 as well. And game number 1 was so short that he wasn't really able to do much on the Braum.
Yeah.
Or no, he wasn't playing Braum. He was playing Gragas once again. But either way, definitely a good performance there as Gen.G stomp Afreeca. They're going to be playing DRX on Sunday, as I mentioned before. That should be a very fun matchup. I would imagine that it should be close, but Gen.G are looking good. We'll see what DRX show up with.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually not sure what to expect from DRX because, of course, their last couple of matches in the regular season, I mean, CVMAX does like to experiment, right? So moving into to that match, we might see some greatness, we might see confusion, but either way, we're going to have a good time. That is, in fact, going to be yourself, Valdez, and LS on Sunday, and I will see you guys for the final the following Saturday. But for tonight, that will do it. We'll see you later for more LCK in a couple of days.